I guess you know what time it is. Yeah, I know, because it's about that time for the Toni G. Campbell podcast.
Hello and welcome to Conversations with Toni on Toni G. Campbell, the podcast. This is the show for my Gen X warriors where we talk about all of our challenges and victories in life. On this episode, we will discuss building your business while relocating your family. Now tell me, do you have a thriving business, but you and your family have to relocate? Do you have a business that you know would succeed better if you relocated? Did you ever feel the need to relocate your family because you knew the food was better elsewhere? I'm just kidding about that one. But on today's show, my co-host and I will dive deep into a discussion about building your business while relocating your family. Right after a word from our sponsor, we will be back with my co-host for today, Kourtenay Roberts, a fierce entrepreneur, wife, and mom. Stay tuned.
1, 2, 1, 2, and I say this is Ty Controller, and I'm here to talk about Dip Square. Dip Square is an online shop that specializes in unique graphic t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and other apparel. They also offer services like personalized mugs and shoes. Did I just say shoes? Yeah, you can get sneakers with your picture on them at Dip Square. They also have tote bags and other items. Right now, you can save on t-shirts every day by using the discount code I Love Tees. That's I Love Teez. You get 14% off because every day is Valentine's Day at Dip Square. So check them out online at dipsquare.com. Dipsquare.com. I guess you know what time it is. Yeah, I know, because it's about that time for the Toni G. Campbell podcast.
Welcome back. Now today we are talking about building your business while relocating your family. My co-host for today is Kourtenay Roberts, a fierce entrepreneur, wife, and mom. Hi, Kourtenay. How are you?
I'm great, Toni. How are you today?
I am well. Okay.
Good.
So let's talk. Let's talk about your family. Now, okay. I know your hubby and your adorable children. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a mother of 4. 2 have graduated from the coop, so we're stuck with our 13 and 6-year-old. Me and my husband decided to take a chance and moved to New Orleans to grow my business, as my business is New Orleans centric. And ever since then, I've just been a full-time entrepreneur, full-time mom, full-time wife. Same story in Atlanta, just a different location.
Now, so how long have you been an entrepreneur?
Oh, I've been an entrepreneur overall, well over 10 years. In the particular business that I'm in now, I've been in this business for 4 years.
Oh, okay, because we as women, we wear many, many hats.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, we do.
So let's talk a little bit about your business. Now, you said it's New Orleans centric.
Absolutely. So what happened was, like, many moons ago, I visited New Orleans, and I just absolutely fell in love with every aspect of it. And I kept gravitating back towards it. And there is a particular, they have so many different events and celebrations and all kind. The culture is just like nothing you've ever seen. Well, when I came to New Orleans the first time, I saw they call them second line umbrellas, and they're very decorated over the top umbrellas, but they use them for a lot of different reasons. And I fell in love when I saw it. I could not find one the first couple of times I came to New Orleans. So me being like, I'm so crafty, I decided to make one. Well, when I made one, I loved it so much. I made a few more. I tried to sell it on Etsy, and they sold. So I essentially started my business from, just me falling in love with this particular culture. Now, after I started my business on Etsy, there is a very popular tourist market here called the French Market. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm and I looked into it. I signed up to be a vendor there, and I came down from Atlanta for like a year and a half, once a month, to be a vendor at this market, and I did really well. So, at the time in Atlanta, I was still very much in corporate America. I was working in Mercedes-Benz corporate. I was, doing my usual thing I always did, but it was just something in me that wanted to, put all bets on me. I wanted the freedom. So,
Mm-hmm.
we got to a point where um, it was like, I don't never want to I don't ever want to be on my deathbed and regret anything. And
Yes.
there would never be a right time. There's never a good time. You just have to take the chance. So, me and my husband, we talked about it, and we decided to just do it. It was a whole lot of stepping out on faith, a whole lot of stepping out on faith, and it was
I
scary.
bet. Because it's
It is
like,
scary.
it's one
Yeah.
thing to convince the husband, but then you got to tell the kids, we are about to uproot you from what you know
Yeah.
and
And,
take you to New Orleans.
exactly. And now for the kids, we did, take that into consideration. Now, my oldest son in the house, he was moving on to middle school. So he had just left that point of being in elementary school and he went to a private school, and they had no middle school for the private school. So he was about to be separated from his friends anyway.
Okay.
So that was a good point for him. And then my youngest was getting ready to go into kindergarten. So it was not, it was him. Both of them were going into new stages where they would have had experienced big changes anyway.
Oh,
So
so even though
yeah,
you say there's never a right time, that kind of was a perfect time.
well, that's true. It did line up like that. Now that part did line up because I had been playing with the idea of doing it for about 2 years or so. And so the whole thing in the beginning was trying to find the right time, trying to have the right amount of money stored, trying to do that, this and the third. And then it does come to a point where there's not a right time. Like, even though that part lined up,
Mm.
everything else was just kind of like, okay, this is going to be the day. Well, thank goodness we got the kids to this point. That's something. But, it's still, and one thing about entrepreneurship anyway, it's, it's a step of faith every day. It's scary every day. Every day is scary.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I'm sure.
yeah. So, I mean, it was like, well, if we're going to do it, we might as well do it 100%. You know? And I have no regrets. Moving here was a really good decision. I, I'm living like people that I read about, not the rich people yet, but at least the people who have become successful, and the things they had to do that was different from the norm. I'm kind of living in that moment right now.
Okay. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I know when you were in Atlanta, um, when I met you, your first entrepreneurial business was like custom t-shirts and custom uniforms. And
Hmm.
didn't you even venture into socks, maybe?
Well, I still run that business as well. So I have this
Okay.
New Orleans centric business, but I also have a custom apparel business. I still service Atlanta for the adult sports leagues. I still do all their uniforms. I still ship shirts back and forth all over the U.S. So yeah, I did. I still do the custom T-shirts, custom uniforms, socks, bags, all kind of stuff. So I still do that too.
Also, you're actually in two states,
Yeah.
or I guess mostly, is it considered online? So you're actually worldly because anyone can order from you, right?
Well, I definitely have worldwide customers. As far as the ordering from me online, That's mostly going to be done. That's just nationwide. Anybody in the United States can order from me.
Okay, okay.
But when I'm here in New Orleans at the market, I have customers from all around the world who come and purchase, and they take their umbrellas back to Sweden and London and wherever else they come from, and then if it had to be more of a physical and a more hands-on customer, it would be New Orleans and Atlanta. I'm more physical in those two places.
Oh, that is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. The conversation has been going awesome so far, but I must take a break at this moment because we got to pay the bills in this house.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
I will be right back, and we're going to continue our discussion about building your business while relocating your family right after this word from our sponsor.
1 2 1 2, and I say this is Tide Controller, and I'm here to talk about Dip Square. Dip Square is an online shop that specializes in unique graphic t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and other apparel. They also offer services like personalized mugs and shoes. Did I just say shoes? Yeah, you can get sneakers with your picture on them at Dip Square. They also have tote bags and other items. Right now, you can save on t-shirts every day by using the discount code ILOVETEES. That's ILOVETEEZ. You get 14% off because every day is Valentine's Day at Dip Square. So check them out online at dipsquare.com. Dipsquare.com. I guess you know what time it is. Yeah, I know, because it's about that time for the Toni G. Campbell podcast.
Thank you for tuning in, and we will continue the conversation about building your business while relocating your family with my co-host for today, Kourtenay Roberts, who is a fierce entrepreneur, wife, and mom. Okay, Kourtenay, we've already discussed why New Orleans, but I know the thought process was challenging, and then you said you had to make the decision to walk away from corporate. Now, are there any kind of regrets or anything at this point?
No, I have no regrets from leaving corporate. I always felt like I worked in corporate America so long. That's how I met your husband. He was one of my trainers at a company we worked at. I've been in corporate America, and it feels like, I just always felt trapped. I'm a creative type person. I'm very artistic, very creative. And I guess when I decided to walk away, it's something that I had been flirting with for some time, Now that wasn't now me moving to New Orleans was not the first time I decided to kind of step out there. When I was running, before I had the t-shirt company, I had a catering business.
Yes.
And I had that. So
you and your husband can burn some stuff.
Yes.
That y'all.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's mostly him these days, but yeah, we we had the catering business. So I kind of stepped away then, from corporate America to try to pursue that a little bit more. But then that, that's one of those things that just didn't work out, and I found myself back there. So, it wasn't a big deal for me to walk away from corporate America, and I have no regrets.
Now
None.
that you're in New Orleans, which is a mecca for food, good food, do you think and I know your husband loves to cook and he can throw down. Do you think y'all would get back into the food industry?
Anything is possible. That may be an aspiration of my husband one day, but as of right now, I don't really foresee it. But we're not just committed to one type of business. If something comes up and it becomes a good opportunity for us, we're always, eager and interested in new things. And if somebody gives us the right formula for something, maybe we would. But right now, this is kind of where I am with it.
Yes, I see a food truck in y'all future. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to put it out there. You heard it here
Well, thank
first,
you.
people. The hubby is going to open up a food truck.
Well, thank you. I received that.
That's right. And you're going to have that cute little face of Dylan all on there. And y'all can call it Dylan's. Ooh, that's cute. There you go. Now, I know that hubby might want his name all up into it since he's doing all the work and stuff, you know. I'm just saying.
Well, you know, Dylan runs everything else in our life, so.
That is, hey, I have one of those 6-year-old people, and yes,
Yeah.
they think they rule the world.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, okay, what kind of advice would you give to, I would say all creative type people, or just people who are thinking like they're teetering on the thought process of becoming an entrepreneur? What kind of advice would you give them?
My advice that I would give to anybody who's interested in starting their own business is, of course, the obvious. Just do it. You won't ever know if you can do it until you try to do it. And if you never try to do it, then, you know, we pretty much know what the answer is. Of course you can't, you know. So I say try. Trust yourself, trust your talents, especially the creative people. Trust your talents. You know, if people love, you know, something that you do, whether it be cooking, whether it be painting, creating necklaces, jewelry, whatever it is, you have to trust your talent and trust that it's as good as other people say it is. And just put all bets on yourself. You know, you're going to have to, you put bets on everyone else and you are most important. So you should definitely do that, but you never will know until you try it.
Now let's talk about that fear factor, you know, or the high concerns, because, you know, most people be like, yeah, I want to do this, but I got to pay my bills. How much fear is still there even after you've taken the family from Atlanta to New Orleans? Your business is still, you know, is thriving and doing well. Does the fear ever go away?
Well, that's a tricky one. First off, I want to put in there that you're going to have to accept failures. Everything won't be a success. Just to be realistic, you got to accept the failures. Now, it's not all when you are going out on your own. Some people save money or they get a business loan to cushion themselves. Some people just go right out there into it, you know. So I guess your level of fear is going to be based on how cushioned you are. But if you were kind of like me and you had somewhat saved, somewhat kind of going out there on faith, the fear level never really goes away. And I think that's kind of like, it turns into adrenaline. It turns into the drive that keeps you wanting to create, keeps you wanting to, every time you make a sale. So it could be a feast or a famine, Toni. So one week you may not make any sales. One week you may be in the red, but the next week you could be doing double what you do. You know, you just never know. And that's the whole difference between the entrepreneurship and going and clocking into somebody's clock, is that you don't have the confirmed income. That's something you're going to have to, that's another thing you're going to have to accept, that when you're doing really well, put some money to the side. You got to be smart. When you're having a phenomenal week or a phenomenal month, put something to the side, pay your bills up, do what you have to do, because there will be some times when it's very dry. My business in particular, it relies heavily on times like special event times like Mardi Gras or maybe weddings or football season. The other times it weighs very heavily on the tourist season. When none of those seasons add up, or excuse me, not add up, but match up for me, It can get very dry. So I have to not, you know, splurge too much when I'm having a really good season, you know, when I'm having a really good month. I have to just pace myself. And I think when you're dealing with fear and entrepreneurship and how I'm gonna pay my bills, there's really no getting around that. If you have the means to go ahead and get your business loan to cover yourself, to pay, to pad everything, then great. But if you don't let that stop you from being an entrepreneur. You can still start part-time in your business. If you
True.
work corporate America, start out part-time, test your customer base. Sell your items online. Work for yourself after you work for someone else. There's many ways to do it, but I guess it just depends on your comfort level. But just don't ever think that there's no way you can't do it.
Oh, definitely. And
Mm-hmm.
I would say, don't be afraid to, when you test it out, if it doesn't work, you can try something else. Because like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you were in catering, and in the Atlanta market, it didn't really work out.
Mm-hmm.
So you moved to your custom apparel, which was doing great. And
Mm-hmm.
then you really stretched it out to your umbrellas, your custom umbrellas, and you're doing amazing, you know?
Thank you. And one thing about it, if your one thing that you do doesn't work out, like you said, try different stuff. My first ever business that I created, I was 19 years old, and I made candles I just made candles and sold candles. That was my first one. After that, I mean, I've done a lot of different things. I just always just had the entrepreneurial spirit. And if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, definitely don't get discouraged if one of your business ideas don't work out.
I was about to say, so you a career entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Now, when I say I was 19 making candles, I wouldn't necessarily, because I didn't think of myself as being an entrepreneur then. I think of myself being an entrepreneur from the point of the catering, that when I actually, had a business license and was
Mm-hmm.
registered with the state. I kind of considered that my first. But honestly, I guess I have been uh, being an entrepreneur since I was, at a very young age. So, hey, anybody, like I say, if you have multiple things that you like to do, if you come across an idea that that you like and it has nothing to do with what you've done in the past and you want to try it. Some people just have that unshakable entrepreneurial spirit.
That is so true. That is so true. Because I promise you,
Hmm.
my husband, Lord Jesus, and for the longest time, I kept telling him, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. And he's like,
Hmm.
but we're going to be. I'm like, okay. Sometimes you just got to submit to it.
You're right. Yeah, I know you all have been involved in a couple of things too. So yeah, you have that entrepreneurial thing going on over there as well.
Yes, but I've been forced into it. So no. No, and the only reason I say that is because there were, I never really realized the joys and freedom of being an entrepreneur, because I am what you call a workaholic. And as an entrepreneur, I felt like I worked so much harder at it. And sometimes you do, because it is your business and you want your business to succeed. So you're going to give it 200%,
Hmm.
but that's dangerous for a workaholic, because upon that 200, if it's still not right, we're going to give, about
That's
500 more
true.
percent and wear
Right.
ourselves out. So that's just my little caveat to everybody.
And that's
Know
so very,
yourself.
right, right. That's so very true, because my husband gets on me all the time. I work around the clock. If one of my customers happens to chime in on my website at 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm up, I'm chiming right back. And I think for me, even though I should have business hours, I think because it's just me, I'm doing business 24 hours, because I want, I'm constantly working at it. It's my baby. I'm
Hmm.
constantly, just like you take care of your baby 24 hours, I take care of my business 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that's something that you definitely have to be aware of, because sometimes he has to tell me no business today. It was my birthday. and I was still handling business. And he said, no, you're not doing anything today. And I had to like say, okay, I'm gonna sit, I'm gonna try to sit on my hands today. And that's a very valid point.
Yes. And see, we
Mm-hmm.
need people like those husbands and those people be like, sit down and rest today. Because if we don't have those people to help us, yeah, you're just like me. You're a workaholic. You will run yourself ragged and to the point where you're not doing your self-care. So let's
Right.
talk about self-care. What do you do for self-care, ma'am?
For self-care, for me, it's spending my time the way I want to. I don't necessarily go and do spa days or anything like that. My self-care is taking care of my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from me doing, my business, I'm very much so involved in the culture, which is something else I was fell very much in love with here. And I participate in the culture, and there's something here called baby dolling. And I am a baby doll, which is a very historical group here in New Orleans. And I go to all the parades, and I get out there and I dance and I spend time with them, and I continue that culture on. Even though I'm not originally from here, I just get right in it and just continue it on. And that's a part of my self-care, doing something that I want to do. Taking care of my mental. And then, of course, I go get my nails done and all that kind of stuff, just like anybody else. But the most part, the most self-care part for me is to make sure I have fun.
And that's so important because, sometimes this adulting thing, people don't think you are allowed to have fun while you're doing it. And it's like, if you don't have fun, you're going to hate being an adult.
Right. Absolutely. I tell my kids all the time, don't grow up. It's a setup. I mean, I still am very much, I love to have fun. I love to have fun. So, yeah, you can't take life too serious. You'll die too quickly. So,
yes, and having fun keeps you young. It keeps you young.
Right. Absolutely.
Because I tell you, shoot, don't give me some music. Don't give me a dance floor. And you don't want me out there because I will shut it down. I will shut it down, people.
I'm going to have to make sure next time we're at an event, we have some music so I can see that. I have to see you shut it down.
Girl, you don't want to see it. I did it at a wedding. I shut the whole thing down now. I'm telling you. Oh, okay.
Indeed.
Huh?
I said indeed.
Okay. I am going to take a quick commercial break at this moment, and we will be right back to continue our discussion about building your business while relocating your family.
All right.
1 2 1 2, and I say this is Ty Controller, and I'm here to talk about Dip Square. Dip Square is an online shop that specializes in unique graphic t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and other apparel. They also offer services like personalized mugs and shoes. Did I just say shoes? Yeah, you can get sneakers with your picture on them at Dip Square. They also have tote bags and other items. Right now, you can save on t-shirts every day by using the discount code I Love Tees. That's I Love TEEZ. You get 14% off because every day is Valentine's Day at Dip Square. So check them out online at dipsquare.com. Dipsquare.com.
Yeah, I know. Because it's about that time for the Toni G. Campbell podcast.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you for tuning in. We are having an awesome discussion about building your business while relocating your family. And I have my co-host for today, Kourtenay Roberts, who is a fierce entrepreneur, wife, and mom. Okay, we're going to talk about all the many hats that we have. Now, we've talked about you being an entrepreneur and being an awesome wife because, Dexter knows without you, he wouldn't even be happy right now. But
that's right.
Let's talk about that mom hat. Now, being an entrepreneur and running two businesses, because, you said the custom apparel is kind of separate from the umbrellas.
That's correct.
So you're running two businesses. You're a wife and a mom. Being an entrepreneur, how much time or extra time does it give you to be that awesome mom that you are?
Well, the one thing about it is you get to, in most cases, set your own schedule. So when my kids have something going on at school, especially planned events, I'm able to, plan my workload around that. Or if there's an emergency at the school, I am my boss. I am my own boss. So if I have to step away from what I'm doing, I have the freedom to do that. Now, that's the biggest thing. That was the biggest plus for me, is being accessible to my kids anytime they needed it, because I work my own schedule. So
And that is
it
so
works for.
awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm.
So even though you are an entrepreneur and a wife and a mom, do you consider yourself a stay-at-home?
No, I don't consider now, even though I am in the home, I also, I have a physical presence as well with my business. I don't consider myself a stay-at-home mom, because when I'm working, my kids know when I'm working, I'm working. So it's not that when I think of a stay-at-home mom, I think of somebody who does, maybe not necessarily working, but is completely dedicated at home with the kids. In my opinion, and just what I think a stay-at-home mom is. I just think that maybe I'm a part-time stay-at-home mom, like if they knock on the door, I'm there, but they definitely know to give me, the space to work and everything. But, I do, if I'm needed, when I'm not working, if I'm working or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it, Toni? My stay-at-home mom or my part-time?
Well, I mean,
I don't
hey,
know.
because some people be like, family is first, which I know your family is first to you, and then your businesses are second. So you're kind of a stay-at-home mom because you are at home all the time, even though you are doing your business, a lot of the time. Now, and you do have, I'm sure you have a designated spot in your home for your business. So you have your office area or your workshop area, because to make your umbrellas, I know you need some space, right?
Yeah, I do. I do have a dedicated area, and when I'm doing my online orders, I'm here. But when I'm not here, I'm at the French market. So that's why I'm saying, it's like I'm here sometimes, I'm not here sometimes. But
Oh
I still
yeah, because you have
right.
like would it be considered a mobile store, sort of, a pop-up store?
Well, no, it's not a pop up. So what the French market has is a unique shopping experience where they have like a flea market, a cultural flea market section.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like different vendors come and bring their different products, and thousands of tourists come through there daily. Um, and I mean, if you're ever in New Orleans, you should absolutely check it out. But you actually are dedicated to your spot, for that particular day, and you can, we are business taxpayers and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's a legitimate business owner. But yeah, so it's not like it's not necessarily a pop-up shop. I am a vendor at the French market flea market. So when people come looking for me, even if I'm not there that day, I am a listed vendor with the French market. I don't know what,
Okay.
when I think of a pop-up shop, I think of here today and maybe gone tomorrow type deal.
Oh yeah, like you might be on 2nd Street one day and
Right.
on 75th Street the next day.
Right.
Okay, so you have your designated space. Okay, that's awesome. So your customers always know where to find you.
Correct. So if I'm not at the market, they can always get, access me online. Some customers will message me right through my website, and they're like, hey, I'm in New Orleans. I have an event to attend. I need an umbrella. And I meet them right there on the spot, or they come by my house and pick an umbrella up right then. So I'm
So
very, I'm very in the, I don't know what you call it. I'm reachable. I'm touchable. I'm very
you're
much
very
involved with my customers.
available.
Very available with my customers. Yeah.
So what's your turnaround for your umbrellas?
Typically, it's a 2-week turnaround. It just depends. Like right now, for instance, the Delta Sigma Thetas are having a huge convention here in New Orleans next month. And we have a ton of orders in. So right about now, it could be stretched out to about 3 to 4 weeks. So it just depends on what, and the same thing goes for um, Mardi Gras season, or if there's a heavy concentrated thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really only one person now. My husband does help me sometimes, but I'm really my own person doing this. So it just, if it's a normal time, then it's just 2 weeks. But sometimes that can get stretched out a little bit.
Oh, I can see why you be working around the clock now.
It's a lot of
Because
time. Time goes into making those umbrellas. They just, and it really depends on what they get on them. It's a very creative process with those.
yeah, because each one is unique. Like, do you have any ones that ever look alike? Aren't all of them different? Like, like a snowflake?
They're all pretty much different, but we do have some templated kind of, like, if you had to call it a template type styles. Like we'll have, especially for my Greek organizations, there's a
Okay.
particular type that we do that features your Greek organization letters, and then you have your name, your year, whatever it is that you want on there, and they kind of look the same. Well, they do look the same, but the customizations are different based on the person. That's pretty much the only one we do. Besides, we have a Saints one that we do that's pretty, that people like a lot. So I make that a lot. But for the most part, majority of our umbrellas are one of a kind, unique, especially if you come out to the market and you come visit me in the market. Those are typically one of a kind pieces.
Oh, okay. Well, tell the people how they can support you or where you can be found, because I know you're very accessible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, my website is www.queenoforleans.com. That's for all of my New Orleans centric products. Now, if you're in the market for custom T-shirts or anything like that, you're gonna have to find me on Facebook, and that's just facebook.com/ She's Pretty Creative. Facebook.com/ She's Pretty Creative. And if you're in New Orleans, come by the historic French Market on North Peter Street, and come check me out there and see what unique pieces we have.
And everyone, I will tell you, she is pretty creative. Because, I mean, I've seen a lot of your custom designs, especially on your the uniforms for the kickboxing. I'm not kickboxing, the kickball teams and things like that. I'd be like, go ahead, Kourtenay. Girl, we got to always support each other on everything that we do, because if we don't support each other, then guess what? We become sharks, and we don't need to be, being
Crabs in the bucket, right?
Crabs in the bucket, exactly.
Let me correct one thing. When you go to Pretty Creative, She's Pretty Creative, make sure you do creative with a K. I apologize. It's Pretty Creative with a K.
Okay.
And you can find me on Instagram as well, at Queen of Orleans, and at Pretty Creative with a K.
Awesome. Okay. I would like to say thank you so much to Kourtenay Roberts, who is a fierce entrepreneur, wife, and mom. It has been my pleasure.
Thank you.
And what's that, ma'am?
I said, it's been my pleasure talking to you.
And we really got to we're going to come to New Orleans. We're going to come. So, we got to get the boys together. Dillian, Caden, they got to hang out and eat some good food.
When you come down, I'm going to give you I'm the best tour guide you can have, because I'm always everywhere here, and so I can take you everywhere when you come. So I got you.
Oh, that's going to be awesome, because I will need a tour guide, because the last time we went, well, we've only been once, and we did the real touristy things, like we went and saw the gators in the swamp, and we We did the cemetery tour, and we just got some good food. But I did learn that McDonald's has grits there. I was amazed. I didn't even understand why McDonald's had grits, but
I know nothing about that.
Really? Because we were walking past it, and I saw the sign, like, the menu sign, and I was like, they have grits, honey.
Oh, wow. Well, I will tell you this. They have the best catfish at the gas station.
What? Okay, yes, you are definitely my tour guide for when we come down there. All right.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take my last commercial break, and I will be right back.
1, 2, 1, 2, and I say this is Ty Controller, and I'm here to talk about Dip Square. Dip Square is an online shop that specializes in unique graphic t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and other apparel. They also offer services like personalized mugs and shoes. Did I just say shoes? Yeah, you can get sneakers with your picture on them at Dip Square. They also have tote bags and other items. Right now, you can save on t-shirts every day by using the discount code I Love Tees. That's I Love TEEZ. You get 14% off because every day is Valentine's Day at Dip Square. So check them out online at dipsquare.com. Dipsquare.com.
I guess you know what time it is. Yeah, I know, because it's about that time for the Toni G. Campbell podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back, and it's time to wrap this up. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Conversations with Toni at Toni G. Campbell, the podcast. Go to ToniGCampbell.com to check out our archive shows, and that's also where you can find the show notes for this episode. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and click that little bell so you can get all the notifications for Toni G. Campbell, the podcast, on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter. Make sure you share with your friends and let them know about Conversations with Toni, and that they can listen to Toni G. Campbell, the podcast, on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Make sure you go to my website, ToniGCampbell.com, and become a Gen X warrior. Then you may also be a co-host on one of my future podcasts. Make sure you rate and review the podcast everywhere that you are listening. And remember to be kind, be useful, and be fearless. Have a great week.